What is the most powerful NLP model? Not only am I going to answer that question in this video, I'm also going to explain what neuro-linguistic programming is really all about. Keep watching. This is Life Mastery Gym. I'm Damon, and I teach people just like you cutting-edge NLP processes and techniques so that you can master your life, so that you can take charge of your destiny. If that sounds good, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm going to show you a way to take this even deeper and keep it really, really simple. NLP began with the recognition that while scientists are focused on discovering objective truth through experimentation, that subjective truth is just as important as objective truth. Because everything you experience, all of the information that's coming to you through your five senses must pass through your subjective filters. In other words, your thoughts and beliefs. Now, before I really dive into this, I'm curious about you. I want to know more about you. How many of you out there know that NLP was really created for modeling, how to model people? If you knew that, or if you didn't know that, let me know in the comments below. Type yes or no. NLP is based on the idea that there is a structure to subjectivity. And to ignore that structure, to ignore subjectivity, is to ignore what makes us human. And if you think about it, if subjectivity wasn't powerful, if it wasn't really a factor, then you could see somebody who was depressed and you could walk up to them and say, okay, I know what your problem is. Your problem is you're depressed. What you need to do is be happy. So just focus on the things that make you happy because you have so much in your life that should make you happy. So be happy. Now, if you've ever done that or something like that, first of all, you know that it doesn't work. If you've ever been that depressed person and someone came to you and said that to you, if you could have mustered the energy, you probably would have wanted to hit them. Recognizing that not only does subjectivity have a structure, it's also the difference, or what makes the difference between someone who is happy and someone who is unhappy. It's also the difference between whether or not someone's going to be successful or unsuccessful. So in recognizing that, the founders and developers of NLP set out to study that structure, elicit that structure, and really map that structure, which later became what we know today as NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. In other words, NLP techniques and processes are the discoveries that Richard Bandler and John Grinder made along with the other developers of NLP along the way of studying and exploring that subjective experience structure. NLP techniques and processes are actually the discoveries that John Grinder, Richard Bandler, and the developers of NLP made, and as a result, they created a model for this structure of subjectivity, and that is what NLP is. So NLP is actually a model for modeling, and more specifically, it was created with the purpose of modeling success, so we could find out why certain people get what they want, or why they're successful, why they're happy, and find out, well, what's that structure like, and what is the difference between that structure and the structure of someone who is unhappy, unsuccessful, or who doesn't get what they want. You might have even found yourself asking the same question. How is it that two people with basically the same external resources, the same level of intelligence, and living basically in the same place or the general area, the same city, the same part of the country, why is one very successful and one not? Why is one happy while one is not? You can have two people who have pretty much the same stuff and the same life, the same internal makeup, the same external resources, yet one has something, or one's having a completely different experience than the other person. Why is that? So that tells you right there that objectivity isn't the difference that makes the difference. It's something else that's going on there, and it is that subjective experience, that each one of us is having our own experience, and in that sense, each one of us is having our own reality. And that reality and that subjectivity can actually be studied It can be mapped because there is a definite structure to it. Early on, the developers of NLP used therapists who were getting extraordinary results, like Virginia Satir, Milton Erickson, Fritz Perls. They looked to them to find clues as to what were the differences between people who were having a healthy life experience or a successful life experience, and learning how to model that, and then looking at people who were having the opposite experience. And then what they would do is they would create a model based on what they found successful or happy people were doing, what was the structure of their subjectivity, and then seeing what would happen if you place that structure on the person who was not experiencing that. Using that kind of model, could that person who was not experiencing those things like happiness and success, would they suddenly start to change and respond to that? Basically, that's how you create an NLP model. You use the neuro linguistic programs to model that subjective structure. And then you go and test it. You bring it, you map it across to that person who isn't having that success experience. And you find out, does this work? And if it doesn't, then you go back to the model, the person you're modeling, and you keep figuring out, okay, what's different? What did we miss? What's the difference that makes the difference? Then you go back and you test it again. And you just keep doing this back and forth until you find something that works, and then you keep testing it on other people. So the more you test it, the more you strengthen that model, and you create a very, very strong model that is consistently getting results with other people. So the more people you test it with, the stronger that model becomes as you add to it or take away from it based on what is really working consistently. This is where people really get confused about NLP, because they see somebody like Tony Robbins, very successful, he uses NLP, and people think, well, I'm going to go learn NLP because NLP is a personal development and self-help tool. And yes, it is, but that's not all it is. In fact, there's a lot more to NLP. NLP is not just the processes and techniques of NLP, it's that aspect of modeling. And from that, you get these processes and techniques. Now, I hear from people all the time because they are confused about this. They want to be a coach. They go take an NLP practitioner training, and when they're done, they don't feel like they actually know how to coach people. The reason for that is NLP is not actually a coaching model. It's a model for modeling. And so you can learn a lot of wonderful techniques, you can learn a lot of wonderful processes, and you can learn a lot about how we function on a structural level to create the results that we want in our lives. But what you probably need then is a coaching model, and there are plenty of NLP coaching models out there. In fact, there are plenty of NLP models, period. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of NLP models. So which NLP model should you learn? Well, before I answer that, I would say it's very helpful to get very clear about why you want to learn NLP. It may serve you very well to take a practitioner training, and you might already be a coach or a therapist, and that practitioner training will add so much value to what it is you already do and so much more skill and understanding and insight. Or you might have a very specific outcome that you're looking for, and you don't really want to learn the whole technology of NLP, you just want that specific outcome. And so an NLP model that is focused on getting that specific outcome is probably a better fit for you, because you don't need a bunch of NLP training behind you to use that model, because you're not really interested in understanding how it works. You're just interested in the outcome that you want to get. And so you can just learn an NLP model and get that outcome, and you can do it really fast. And like I said, without having a whole lot of NLP background, and you don't need a whole lot of NLP skills and training to do it. So to answer the question, what is the most powerful NLP model? Well, first I would say the answer is, of course, subjective. And the answer to that, for me, without a doubt, is the self-concept model. The self-concept model is a model that was created by Steve Andreas. It's the only model that I teach, and it's the only model that I use for coaching. And the reason it is so powerful is because just the name itself tells you everything you need to know. Steve Andreas modeled how we create our sense of self. We all have a sense of self, and that sense of self is in fact a belief. And it's either a very limiting belief or it's a very open and empowering belief. And when you change something at the identity level, that is the mother of all beliefs. So you affect all the other beliefs, all the other lower level beliefs that you have. So if you have limiting beliefs around what you're capable of, what you can do, how accomplished you can become, how successful you can become, you're going to find the answer to overcoming that in your identity, in your self-concept. And this is why, in my opinion, by far, the self-concept model is the most powerful model in NLP. And not just in NLP, it's the most powerful technology of any mental technology that I've ever come across. Now you're much clearer about what NLP is really all about. And not only that, now you know what the most powerful NLP model is. But what you don't know is what are the elements of a healthy and strong self-concept. Now remember, everything comes from the self-concept. With a strong and solid and healthy self-concept, everything becomes possible. So I've created a simple PDF checklist. All you have to do is, there's a link in the description. There's also a pinned comment right down below. When you click that link, you can get your hands on that PDF. It's just a checklist that shows you and explains to you all the elements of a healthy and strong self-concept. It's absolutely free, so make sure you take advantage of that. Now that you have this new understanding, and now that you know what the most powerful NLP model is, what are you going to do about it? What is your next step? Take some sort of action here. True education happens when behavior changes. So what are you going to do now? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you, and I will respond to you. If you like this video, make sure you click the like button and hit the subscribe button as well. If you can think of a friend who you think would find this video really helpful, make sure you share it with them, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.